What's up, painting friends? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Stoof, and today we're going to do a real-time landscape painting tutorial of an autumn barn. So it's going to be a red barn here, and then we're going to have some cloudy skies and some brilliant autumn colors in the trees and some hills in the background, and then a field with some wheat in the front, maybe a little fence as well. And I'm also really excited because I got a bunch of brand new paintbrushes, so I'm going to be putting these to work today. So if you guys have your materials ready, we're going to be using acrylic paint. We're using a 12-inch by 12-inch canvas, a cup of water, a variety of brushes. I'm also going to use some round-tipped brushes. I just bought a bunch of new flat-tipped brushes because I go through those like, I don't know, things that are very easily disposable. I fray these very easily, and then I have to buy new ones because I need these for crisp, sharp lines and blades of grass. And as soon as you wash them roughly, which I tend to do very often, they get frayed and they don't have that nice crisp edge anymore, so that's why I go through these like crazy. Alright, so for paint, we have light blue, our sky blue, or our light blue violet, I think is what it's called, Prussian blue, ultramarine blue, phthalo green, sap green, green yellow, flesh tint, burnt sienna. Those are both like a cadmium yellow medium, an orange, a cadmium red, a crimson red, which is a little cooler than that red, white, burnt umber, and black. And you probably don't need every single one of these colors, but I like to go crazy and add lots of colors on the palette, so I have them there. Right, so without further ado, let's get started on this painting. Alright, we're going to start with our brush dipped in a little bit of light gray paint and some water. And we're going to do our horizon lines first. So first we do where the hilly back hills in the background are coming out here, and then we're going to have a tree line before that. It kind of just goes down, starts to come up and get larger as it's coming towards us. And then we have a little line here where the field meets the tree line. Then we're going to start with our barn. So for the barn, we're going to do a little bit of work with perspective here so that our barn makes sense the way we look at it, okay? So we're going to have our base of the barn. I'm seeing my reference photograph and I see that there are some lines on the barn that all meet to a certain reference point, which is just a little bit off of the canvas right here, just above that line there. So we're going to hold our brush here and look at that. We're just going to start, basically pretend that I would carry this all the way out to there, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stop it right there. And we have another point about right here. It's going to do the same thing, just going like a straight line as if it were to keep continuing on and hit that point. So they're both going to that point. We've got another line about right here. It's going to also go to that point. So it's just getting a little bit closer as it gets farther back. And we got another one up about here, which is basically just a straight line extending out from that point. Alright, so we got those spots sketched out, those lines sketched out. Now let's do a vertical line. So basically this is the bottom base of the barn. We have another vertical line about here where we get another fold in the barn. So if you guys are good at just eyeballing, like basically holding your brush flat and saying, okay, this looks like this line is at a 20-degree angle, and then you can just sketch that 20-degree angle and you don't need to do this perspective check, then that's great. You can do that, but I guess I'm getting into a little bit extra detail here if you're really struggling with making your barn look accurate. Alright, so then we have the roof of the barn, which kind of makes a top of the barn's about right here. So we have like an angle here, a little angle here, and then it goes down like that. This one goes down like that, and then this one goes about a 30-degree angle like this. Now to make the background line of the roof match, we want to make sure we follow the perspective here. So this one has a point basically like up here. So then I just want to keep that same thing in mind when I'm putting that line in there. And then follow this line here, connect those two spots. And this one's here, this one's about here. Okay, and we've got a same thing with this one, but this one's like way up off the canvas there, so it just gets a little bit more steep. And then keep this one like that. We've got another one way over here somewhere with these guys. Okay, and then another one here. Look at this angle, and then this one's just going to come a little bit more like that. So what I just did, if that was confusing to you, let me link some perspective videos in the description so that if you are super confused by what I just did, it's been a long time since I taught that. So if you're confused on how I just figured out the right angles for this barn, then you guys click on those videos in the description and they'll give you a brush up on perspective. And this one's just gonna go something like that. So now we've got our barn sketched out. It's making sense. In my brain it makes sense. Got a couple little windows here. And this line just kind of connects those two. And then we've got a little bit over here too. It's kind of out of sight, can't really see too much. And then we have a fence in the foreground that's just gonna, for now I'm just gonna put one line there so we just know what it looks like. So this is a nice piece with a lot of dimension. Like first we have this diagonal here which pulls your eye back to the barn, then we have another diagonal there, and then it just keeps going off into the distance. So this is a really nice composition for this one. Alright, so we got everything sketched out. We got a field here, fence here, barn here, trees here, sky here. We're going to start by filling in some base color for the sky, and we're just going to mix our sky blue with Prussian blue. And I'm just going to fill that in. Here I want to thicken up my paint some. Start to fill this in a couple spots. Your sky can look however you'd like it to look. There's a million different options for the sky. Just added some white to that color. Make this color go right down to the base where my tree line is. Just put that there. And let's throw some more Prussian in and put that up here. So adding more Prussian to that color that had some white in it just took out that warm blue. And that gives me like a closer to outer space color blue. And then I'm just going to fill in the rest of that with clouds once we let this dry for a bit. So we'll just blend these colors in a little more. And then we'll add some more clouds to that later. Alright, and now we can start to work on this hill in the background. So we're going to have some of our ultramarine blue and some of that warm red and also some phthalo green and some white. It's actually not that far away. I thought it was going to be more purple. So let's add a bunch more phthalo green. Just add that. Yep, that's looking pretty good. And then just get yourself a nice line that covers up a little bit and basically just goes right up to the edge of your sky color. Don't leave any color showing in between. And then you're going to take some light green, mix that in with that sky blue color you did, add some ultramarine blue. We'll put that right here, and we'll blend that up a little bit. I'm kind of doing like little like boop, boop, boop. shapes with my brush, kind of like a bunny hopping, like wee hop hop. And that's just starting to build up the look of texture by adding some highlights and shadows in my mountains back there. All right, then I'm gonna take some more white. I'm gonna take some Prussian. And I'm gonna take some crimson. And then we're gonna start to add a little more color back here because it is an autumn scene. We have a little bit of color peeking through even though this is far off in the distance. So I'm just mixing some of my warms together here with some white. Yeah, I've got a little bit of color just to peek through the mountains here. And just hold your brush and start to dab. You can like slowly carry the brush down a little bit. For the most part, you're just dabbing the paint on. And you can take some yellow, some white. Careful with your yellows this far in the distance. You want to tone them down so they're not too vibrant yellow, because this far away, your eyes won't really be picking up vibrant yellows. Everything's kind of muted. All right, and then let's take a little more Prussian blue and some of our crimson and some burnt umber, and let's take some more phthalo green. And we'll just add some shadows here. Ooh. It's better. Take a little more of a shadow color. We can build up the shadows just a hint more again. Okay, cool. Alright, good. We're gonna leave that alone. Now let's take our green and our burnt umber. This is our sap green. And a little bit of white. Whoa. And we're just gonna fill in a base color here for this tree area. So I'm just covering the canvas here with that base green color. And then keep in mind that this line right here is probably only 15 feet behind this barn. So this barn's pretty big, so this tree here is going to be pretty big. We're going to be able to see the brush strokes are going to be able to give us individual leaves, basically. Mixing a little more brown with my green, sap green, and just filling in this space here. And then I'm going to let that base green coat dry and put a base color down for the field here. So I'm going to take some of my burnt sienna, white, and my yellow medium. I didn't wash off my brush. I still want to have like a hint of cool green in there, but not too much. We'll take a little more burnt sienna and some burnt umber and some of our warm red. And that gives us a pretty good base color for the field here, which basically continues down here. I'm just leaving that little fence line in there so I remember the angle of my fence. And you want to use a lot of paint here. Just completely cover up this whole section with that base color. Get all the paint off your brush. Right up to the tree line. Guess it goes up a little more back here. A little bit back here too. Yellow, white, umber, and take a little more green here too, actually. So the foreground does have some green sticking through. Let me just take some yellow and we'll blend that back. I'm gonna take a little orange too. Ooh, that orange was way stronger than I expected it to be. Let's cover that up. It's kind of a nice warm orange though. It brings your attention right in there. Woo! Losing the painting. And we're just gonna take some white, some of our violet blue, mix those two together, and a little hint of black. Yeah. Let's take some Prussian blue too, and some of our burnt umber. That's a pretty good color. Alright, it should be, let's take a little more black and a little bit more of our Prussian. We want it to be a little bit darker than that color. There. Alright, so, oh, nope, that's not dark enough. Alright, let's take some more Prussian and some more black. And we can build these up. So I'm just going to do the shadows of the clouds first. Got some shadows in here. Clouds just going off behind this tree line. Big cloud over here. Make sure you use like a nice soft edges for these clouds. You don't want them to get too blocky. You want them to look nice and soft. So the way to soften them up is to get the excess paint off your brush and then just kind of poke at the edges there, just going back and forth. You can even pull the edge down a little bit there. It just gives you that nice soft look. And the sky color behind it is mostly dry already, so I'm not really blending that into a wet color. Got another one here. And let's take some more white. I've got another cloud like right here. This one's not quite as dark. Just let this blend out too. Brown. Let's take some more white. Take the excess paint off your brush whenever you want to blend, or soften up the edges. Alright, now we've got that color all filled in. I'm going to put some warmer clouds in the sky, so I'm going to take a little bit of yellow, mix with white, a little tiny hint of orange, teeny hint of orange, and some of our flesh tint, a little bit more white, a little bit more flesh tint color. Just take a tiny bit of burnt sienna too, see what that does. It's like a golden, very subtle, warm golden color. And that's going to go like right here. It's basically behind these big dark clouds. So I'm just going to very carefully wiggle that in there in between the tree line and the dark clouds. Just start to blend very slowly, very carefully. Add that warm color. just a little bit with the color behind it. Still just a tad wet in this spot. Excess paint off the brush. Just let this blend. Just going right at the edges. Just kind of poking at it until it blends the way that I want. Take like a little bit more color just to keep building that up. You can do that. This soft cloud. So we're gonna take a little bit of, let's take a little crimson, ultramarine blue, and that sky blue. And that's like a warm purple. Let's add a little more sky blue. Just get a little bit on the brush there. And just put a little bit of that like purple color right here. Just let the warm color fade into the purple. A little bit, we can take a little bit of orange, blend that in with our warm color, and just take a little bit of that, start to warm up. Let's clean that up again. Just warm up the clouds a little bit in some spots. This spot's still wet. Just very, very softly dry brushing here. Alright, and then we'll build up our darker colors again a little bit. So I'm taking some black, Prussian, ultramarine, and we're gonna build up right here again since this is over top of that color. Just cloud there. Let's add a little more black and ultramarine. Good. And you know what? It's a little bit lighter right here. And right here too. Okay, it's a little darker up here. Some ultramarine and some Prussian black and some crimson. Add that here. Ooh, it's really dark. Add a little bit there too. Anywhere you want to build up your shadows. A little bit more blue. I just like to do a lot of building up with textures and colors. That's how you get a really nice sky. Just lots and lots of building up of layers and colors. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take some pure white. We're gonna throw that right here. Right here. A little bit there too. I guess we can put like a little bit in this spot too, since we're Gonna have some of the sky peeking through there. A little bit of white right here. And then whatever you want to blend, just take the extra paint off your brush and start to blend it in. Alright, so I've got some very soft clouds now. Just gonna let those be and start to work on the detail in the trees again. So I'm just gonna touch up this outline a little bit here. Okay, looks good. Yeah, now it looks good. Okay, and let's start to work on these trees back here. So you want to have a clean brush for this. This part we're going to try to breeze through. So we're going to take just lots of fall colors. So I'm taking yellow, orange, white. And we're just going to start to add some nice autumn leaf colors to this tree line here. So we've got that. Let's add some crimson and some of our burnt umber. And we'll add a tree right here. It's going to be that nice warm color. Take some yellow, mix it with our burnt sienna, put that tree color right here. Then we're going to take some green too, because some of these are still green. Take our yellow green mixed with yellow. We'll just add this one right here in front of that guy. A little bit of phthalo green behind that. And I'm just letting the empty space here where we had that base color kind of be our shadows. Take a darker brown, green, that one there. Take a little white, some light green back there. Just some yellow, white, and that one right here. Oh, that's really bright. Mix a little bit of ultramarine blue with our yellow. Just cools it down. And then red with a little bit of ultramarine blue. Cools down that red. Got some down here. Got some nice vibrant red right there. So it's starting to build up, as you can see. Just using the same brush. Take a little bit more of that yellow green. Add a little bit of that here. Just very, very lightly holding the brush, very lightly touching it to the canvas. And then as your trees get closer to the bottom, you add a little bit of blue and black, or brown even, to cool them down. Mix brown and blue to get a really dark color. Mix some of our green in there as well. It's a really good dark base color. We're going to see some phthalo green with blue tree right here. It's really nice. You really get a big variety of color in these autumn trees. take some orange, we'll add a little highlight on there. Alright, let's keep moving forward. Let's keep adding these little highlights. Ooh, there's like a little bit of white got blended in there. Mostly green right here. I'm just holding the brush in a way that's making it look like I'm painting individual leaves. So I just mixed some brown, black, and my sap green. Now I'm going to start to add some little tree limbs here. Leaves. Just holding my brush at different angles. And I can use that same color to start to build up a few more shadows in here. Blue and Prussian blue to really darken those shadows down here. Basically, we have a dark shadow in between each tree down here at the base. Alright, take some more red, really dark red, so just making like a nice shadow color. I can add some orange on top of that. Let that orange fade down into your red. Okay, take some more green and put that in with our yellow. Mix some brown with our shadow color. Start to separate things a little bit more by adding some shadows. Okay, take some yellow, some orange, some white. Start to add a little bit of orange in these trees here. We're probably going to have a little bit of brown in there too. Let's add some black and some umber to cool it down. Some white stuck in there. Okay, get a little bit more this color here. My bush. Some white. Let's keep building these up. Maybe some more yellow. A little bit of orange mixed in with that yellow there just to make it a little bit more saturated and warm. Just really lightly dabbing with this brush. Okay, we only those nice autumn colors. Okay, whoops. Now this tree, let's take a little bit more of that shadow color. I see we've got some more leaves sticking up here. And we'll add some yellow to those. Now this tree here is pretty dark, so we're going to take lots of ultramarine blue and blend that in with our dark colors. Just start to add some leaves by very lightly holding my small round-tipped brush here, adding a little bit of water even to thin that down some. I'm thinking of where we would have some clusters of leaves. Can't really see any individual branches on this tree, but you can see these clusters of leaves that are together. Just plopping those all in. This dark shadow color first, and then we'll start to add some of our highlights and autumn foliage colors next. Alright, we've got a little autumn tree back here that's orange. It's got some bright orange on it. Also got some really bright orange, yellow trees down here. Take some more yellow. And just lighten those up. Add a little bit of highlight with that yellow. Then we can start to add some of our yellow to these clusters of leaves here. I mixed it with my green to give me more of a yellow green. It's like a little bit of brown in it too. Let's take some more red, a little bit of white. Let's add some red too. Even add some white to our sap green. Just to add like a little highlight to some of those. You want to add your highlights in clumps kind of over top of a little shadow. And of course our highlights are not as prominent as the tree is closer to the surface. There's more shadow since our light source is above us. And add some impression. A little bit of a gray green. More impression and brown. Really dark down here. Dark shadow in here, and just so I can separate those two greens a little bit. And I'm just adding those bunches of leaves again. Take some more yellow. This spot, woo! A little too much yellow there. Just let that blend in. white and just layer that on top of these highlights. And add a little brown too, a little red. Separate these again. I'm just going to build up that shadow again. And then I've got a shadow here too. And we'll build up these shadows a little more too. I think I made everything a little bit too symmetrical and even. It wouldn't look like that. Cool. All right. Take some more green. And then we need some brown mixed with our blue for in between these guys. We'll just build that highlight up one more time. Yellow and orange. Pure orange over here too. I'm just going to do a little bit more right here just to make this one stand out. Okay, now let's work on the barn. So for the barn, we're going to use our flat-tipped brush, and we're going to start with the roof of the barn, which is going to be white mixed with some of that sky blue and some black. And just fill that in. Oh, I love these new brushes. These are great. And then we got this one here. Spot here. Okay, now we're going to take some of our ultramarine blue and black and start right at the top of each of those spots where you change your angle of the roof, and just start by getting that line in like this, and then start by pressing hard and then picking up and making like a sweep. Okay, now just clean off your brush by drying it on your napkin. Take some white. And just add that on the front of your roof. Kind of blend that back a little bit. And on the back, same thing. just want to take your brush and hold it at the angle where you're going to get a nice thin line and just make those little lines just like that. Okay, and next let's use that color we had for the base for the roof and just add our little other side of the roof. Okay, there we go. Great, now we can take some black, some crimson, blend those together, add a little bit of ultramarine. And we can use that for our shadow right under here. I'm going to get nice and close right up to that line you just painted in. And there you go, that just defined that line a little bit. Do it here too. Right there, and then we'll do another line under here. Alright, now let's just take some crimson and our warm red and some yellow and orange, all of our warm colors, and just fill in, let's take more crimson, and we'll fill in the base of the barn with this kind of orange, warm red orange color, and just go almost up to that edge where you put in your line there. I'm gonna leave this spot white or a light gray. Fill this in with color. You can fill all this in with color. This right here. And if you don't want to add any windows, you don't have to. I'm gonna add some windows here in a bit after this red dries. Alright, that's a nice warm red. It's looking good. Alright, now I'm just going to take some crimson, and we're just going to put that crimson right on top. Look at that color, wow. We're going to start with horizontal brush strokes, and then we're going to flip those to be vertical. So the horizontal was just to easily get it on the barn. Horizontal is to match the way that the wood planks were built on this barn. Okay, and then we can take some of our crimson mixed with some ultramarine blue. That gives us like a cool purple, and put a little bit of brown in there too. And I'm just gonna start with the shadowy spots that we painted and just start to pull that color down This is like a nice edge there. Hold your brush at an angle so you can get right up to that nice spot. And things are more in shadow up here under that roof. This will get much easier with practice. Alright, now do that same thing. Now you're just going to hold your brush this way and start to add the grains of wood. Doesn't have to make a perfectly visible line, just get like a little bit in there and it's going to give us the appearance of some wood there. And then we can take that warm base color we started with and put that right over top, kind of filling in those spots in between the planks of wood. And that's giving us more of that rusty barn color. I'm gonna take some white and retouch up that, ooh, retouch up that edge. And then to fix that up, all we gotta do is take that shadow color again, which was crimson with ultramarine blue, and just go right up against that. If you want to keep making your wood like more and more distressed, then you can mix some white with some orange and red and basically just keep lightening up. Yeah, like orange is a good one for sure. And then just like take all your excess paint off your brush and then just dry brush on there, and that really gives it that more distressed barn look. And it's blending a little bit with my brown and purpley color I made. And take a little bit more white and take some of my ultramarine blue. I want to get like a cool creamy gray. Yeah, that's good. And that's going to be our barn door color, base color. And using a flat tipped brush here is the best because you can really get those nice crisp edges. Just make sure you're still keeping up with the perspective lines you originally sketched. That's when it gets a little tricky. I guess let's make this centered. Just make this a big barn door. Black, just turning gray now. Line here that just goes right above that. Alright, we're going to take some brown, some burnt sienna, which is our brown, some of our crimson, and some of our blue. You want it to be warmer purple, basically, so more crimson than the other colors. And let's just go over that gray line with that color. And then we'll put a little line right here, line right there, and that borders off our door. And then let's take some white and we'll add our little window here. Let's add a window here too, and we'll make it symmetrical. Alright, then you could take that shadow color again. Just go right up under the base of that window, and that'll clean up your window lines just a tad. Okay, you can also take some black. Just do some vertical lines here for the door. I did not totally clean off my brush, so there's still a little bit of gray in there. And we'll just do what we did before with the barn, but now with the white. Just kind of fill in between those grays. Darken this one down just a little. Then I'm going to take my smaller flat-tipped brush and I'm going to just get some black paint. I'm just going to mix my white with that light blue color I had again. And very carefully put that over top of that darker color. Right up to the edge. And let's add more of a shadow on this side. So I'm just mixing my crimson with my darker color. My crimson with my blue and black, or blue and brown, either one would work. And then we'll stop that point so that it looks like the roof hangs over the side just a little more. So I'm taking some blue, green, brown, and we're just going to put that right up here to the edge. Go. Take some for Prussian with black. There we go. Okay, and then we gotta touch up the field too. So we're gonna take some white with our orange, yellow, a little bit of burnt sienna, and we're taking our flat-tipped brush and we're just gonna do just like this. And then when you want to make it look more fuzzy, you just okay. So this is when I actually want a frayed brush. This is why I destroy these brushes, guys. Let's use a frayed flat-tipped brush. So if you can see, this is a flat-tipped brush I had before. This is one that I just started to destroy today, but this one is very nice. This one is frayed. It could be much worse, but yes. Old flat tip brush, new flat tip brush. We're gonna use old flat tip brush, and I'm really gonna work it in there. And that's when we can take this and there we go. Get our nice frayed brush to give us the appearance of grass. And the more you fray it, the more it works for you. Then we'll take some, we're basically going to do this in layers, so we're going to take some white, and you just want to keep building up the layer that's in front of it. If it's giving you like clusters of paint instead of giving you your frayed look, then it just means you have too much paint on your brush or your brush isn't frayed enough. Okay, and then the other thing is when you're building up these layers, you gotta have like a shadow for each layer. So you start with your brown, a little bit of blue, and just build up the shadow and work it up. All right, and then you can start your next highlight layer. I'm just gonna take some yellow and some white and a little bit of burnt sienna, some flesh tint, more white, and this one's gonna be a little bit more cool. And you don't want to go 100% over the shadow layer that you just put down, because you want to be able to separate the two layers that you got going on here. Okay, take some more brown, more black too. We'll build that up in front of that layer. Take some more white, gold. Some brown, black, take a little red, a little orange. Take a little more orange in our warm color this time, and yellow. Start to add some of the stuff right in front of the barn. Take some of our shadows. Let's take some ultramarine, some blue, red. Most of this stuff is in shadow right here. And then as these get closer to us, we start to get more individual blades visible, so you could switch to a liner brush if you want to get really detailed with it. Or you could even switch to your nice flat-tipped brush that is not destroyed and start to just add some blades like this. bright right up here. And as you guys are watching me, you can see that I'm just throwing these blades of grass in like every direction. They're not like a little bit of like an X crisscross. They're not all going in the same direction. They're not all the same size. Just really quickly working. And you can even start to add like a couple more highlights back in here if you want to brighten things up a little. Just make sure that your grass is really small in the background and it gets taller as it's moving closer. And then we've got some burnt sienna mixed with burnt umber. And we'll just throw some of that down here. Kind of make it a base. And then we'll just take some burnt umber. Just like work that in between here, up to certain spots, and then you can let it do like little crisscrosses for some of it. It's like the shadow. Basically, it's like a little bit more barren by the fence here, so we just want to show that by putting a little bit of dirt here. Let's take some blue, mix with our brown. We'll cool this down even more here. Alright, and then you know, there's a couple things that are going to be brighter, kind of sticking up here still. A little bit of green grass. But not a lot of it. Okay, and then we can do our fence. So the fence is going to be burnt umber, black, crimson, more crimson. Okay, and I'm just going to start a little bit above what I just painted and just make a nice line. Kind of follows that same angle of the grass I just did. And the fence is getting larger as it's coming down here, so it's going to be a little bit wider here. Not quite as wide there. And then also going to be a little bit closer together back here. A little bit farther apart over here. Okay, and then we have 4 rows going horizontally for this fence. One more right here. Here we go. Okay, and then we've got our nice little vertical fence posts. You want to try to make those look 3-dimensional, so give them a little bit of shape. one right here. And these are getting a little bit farther spaced apart with each one and a little bit taller and wider. All right, now we gotta add some highlights on that fence so it gives us a three-dimensional look. So I'm gonna take my flesh tint and I'm gonna blend that with some of my burnt sienna. And let's do some sky blue, just to cool it down just a little bit. All right, so it's kind of a nice, cool, fleshy color. And we're gonna do a highlight. That is not bright enough. Let's take some more white. Take some white and mix that in there too. This has to be lighter. Actually, you know what? Let's just use like pure white, guys, with what else is on the brush. So really bright, and just put that right over top of all of your vertical, or your horizontal spots here. And that's where your sign is hitting your fence. Also gonna have a spot on top of this thing, which would be a little easier with a different brush. Look at this, guys, I'm getting white all over my arm. Oops. Okay, and then I can just touch up these spots that I messed up here with this black. Easy fix. Okay, now we're going to take just some burnt sienna, put a little color on this side of the fence post. And a little bit on your shadow color there too. Not too much, you don't have to go too crazy. Ooh. Alright, now let's work on this foreground and then we are gonna call it a painting. So let's take some of our flesh tint, our white, and our yellow and orange, and just start to add some grass there. I've got more green up here. Take some green, brown, just start to add some of that in here. A little more green, oh, and some of my phthalo green get in there too. Some of these over here. And just take some brown, just put some brown in a couple little spots. You can mix your raw umber and burnt umber. Warm things up a little. I'll add some highlights again. Gonna put that there so I can get off the face of the canvas. And we can make some that are more yellow-green here too. Maybe not that much. All right, let's go back to our burnt sienna color. Go to our barn color, mix with our brown and a little black. That'll give me a nice little base color for some of these. Take some phthalo green and sap green. A little more here. All right, and then our last hurrah here, we'll take some more of our light flesh tint color. Alright, and that would be a finished painting, guys. So it was pretty, it took about an hour and a half to finish, so it took a little longer than I expected, as usual. Thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this painting tutorial of an autumn barn. If you have any requests for future painting tutorials, please leave a comment below and let me know what you have in mind, and I will add that to my list of things to paint. If you recreate this painting yourself, please post a picture of it on your Instagram and tag me so I can see it. I love seeing your guys' recreations of my paintings. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss my weekly painting tutorials I put out on Thursdays and sometimes on Sunday. Have a great day, stay safe and healthy, and happy painting. Bye bye!